What's going on, everybody? All right, so I know some of the issues that some people have, my buddy included, is temperature fluctuation. You know, the humidity levels jump because of temperature fluctuation and everything as well. So that also makes it harder to maintain. Um, if you have colder air, it actually increases the level of the humidity in the room versus hot air has it'll lower the humidity. Um, Cold air just holds more, so it holds more moisture, increasing the actual relative humidity levels, which can be a good thing or a bad thing depending on what you're doing. But it's a lot easier to maintain if everything just stays the same. So, one of the things I'm going to show you guys here is just a quick, almost anybody can do this, cheap way to regulate a room, a tent, almost of any size. Um, right now it's like 20 degrees outside. It's really cold, and this is in a basement. So it's really cold outside the tent. Inside the tent, you can see it's 77 degrees, and it'll stay between 77 and 79 at all times. I actually just had switched everything over. That's why the minimum temperature says 70, but that is not going to be the case from this point forward. Basically, to combat the cold, I use this cheap little $10 space heater. And I turn it on max, I turn it on off all the way, and that is way more than enough to basically cool this or warm this 5x5 tent. How I basically control it without sitting here all the time and monitoring it is I use just a cheap reptile thermostat. You can tell up here I have the probe for it. The probe comes out, and then out the side, basically the heater comes out the bottom, and it plugs in. They're both pretty much attached to this. You can tell it says 81 or 82 or whatever on this, but it's going to stay that 77 to 79. You're just going to kind of play with it and find the sweet spot. But you plug it in, you have your probe that measures the temperature, and it'll turn on, so you can tell the heat source is lit up. So it's actually on right now, probably because I got the tent door open. But it'll maintain that at all times. So whether your lights turn off or they turn on, if you're using LED, using metal halide, HPS, doesn't matter. If the room temperature drops below a certain degree, with like say the lights turn off and it drops, usually what happens is when you're using a lot of HPS lights, the HPS lights during the day, they warm up the room, they lower the humidity levels. They're usually on a timer, they turn off, the humidity levels spike through the roof, and your room gets cooler. And that's bad for your plants. You don't want the big temperature, to shift. No big drops, no increases like that, and then you're getting it again when the lights come on. So bam, your lights turn on, your humidity levels drop, and the temperature skyrockets. That's really bad. That actually will kill your, a portion of your yield, stunts growth. Not to mention if the temperature drops too much, like here in the winter, the basement can be 60 degrees. That's way too cold. One of the ways you can increase 20-30% of your yield is simply just to make sure that that temperature does not jump around. And the easiest way to do that I've been able to see, at least when you need to, as far as heat goes, is just a simple small heater like that. I have a little tape on there because it does have a light. Make sure you cover that up. It doesn't emit any like a red glow or nothing like that. So it's when this night cycle comes on, it is pitch black in here. And temperature probe, again, that doesn't have any lights or anything, so you can place that where you want. If you want it to be right at the plant, you can, if you've got the space just positioned a little different, stretch it over there. You can hang it in the air. You can tape it to the side. You can do whatever you want. It's thermostat. You can tell it's set on like 81, 82. And if I probably would have checked the level here with a little bit of light hitting it and everything, it's probably about that. It's pretty close. It's usually like 1 to 2 degrees off. But down at the bottom, you can tell right now I've got the door open. It's 76. But those are the easiest ways to maintain the temperature in a tent, a room, whatever the case is. And if you have a really big tent or a really big room, just get a different size heater. And most of them will still work with a cheap reptostat or a thermostat. Basically, is what it is. And it's a simple way to basically fix that problem. And you'll definitely notice more growth in the plants faster. And it's a good way to increase yield, and it makes it more stable for the environment, overall. So you're gonna have less problems. Any other questions or comments? Let me know, and we'll be back.